Good evening, everybody, and it is Hump Day, and we are here at No Limits, another edition of, and I am proud to be joined by Cullen Wright, and Cullen is the Initiatives Director for Advocate Health Advisors. How you doing there, old Cullen?
Doing great, Scott. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. We're getting close to the July 4th holiday, but we got to make sure that we can't go ahead and ignore those people that served our country once upon a time in 1776. But before we go out there and talk about that, what I'd like you to do, Cullen, is to go out there and give everybody an overview about Advocate Health.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for having us on again, Scott. Advocate Health Advisors, very appropriate that we join your show on a patriotic holiday here. We're veteran-owned and operated, and we're a field marketing organization. And our goal is to support insurance agents across the country to help our Medicare population make the right Medicare decision. One of the things that I do that's a little unique with inside the company is I work with our veterans. I'm a 34-year retired Army colonel, so I still enjoy to get to serve as our Veterans Initiatives Director. I work with our veterans to make sure they're utilizing their VA benefits. If you're a veteran and you're listening to the show tonight, chances are, 60% of us are not enrolled for our benefits. So if you're not enrolled for your benefits, we'd love to help you do that. And we do it. We are a for-profit business, but we do that as sort of quasi-nonprofit work because we want you to get those benefits and utilize those as just veterans helping veterans. The way we keep our lights on, however, is our Medicare sales. So once we help you with that, there are Medicare plans that have been developed specifically with veterans in mind, and they come from a variety of carriers, and we carry a variety of carriers. We don't carry just one product. So I love what we do there. And we also have one really fun connection that I love. If you look on our leadership team, we have over 100 years of military experience just within our leadership team. And that's a lot of deployments in there. We probably have over a dozen deployments within the leadership team. And for those of you that don't know, deployments when you pretty much pack your bags and leave home and you're gone for a while and hopefully, God willing, you come back. But that's an important thing for us to be able to give back through a partnership we have with the Vietnam 50th Commemoration Association. We were the first company of our type to join, and we've had some of our carrier partners join since then. And I love that piece of what we do. I go up to every Vietnam veteran I see. Nobody likes to travel with me, Scott, because I'll get out of the TSA line at the airport, and I carry these pins and certificates with me everywhere I go. And I'll go thank a Vietnam veteran, and I'll say, thank you, because you made sure that I was treated like a king every time I came back because you guys weren't. And that gives me so much pleasure. And everyone in our company that participates in the Vietnam 50th Commemorative Association program, a great pleasure to be able to thank our Vietnam veterans and say, welcome home. So we love that partnership.
Well, I've always been a firm believer that the Vietnam veterans never got the respect that they deserved. And they were dealing with undoubtedly one of the most difficult wars. And I was watching it many years ago as a kid, through, the Today Show, and you get a feeling for what the fighting was. I had an uncle that actually served in Vietnam, and Agent Orange was certainly something that badly came out of it and became a problem for a lot of the veterans that came back home.
We do, and we find there's so many veterans out there that have been exposed to Agent Orange. And if you were in Vietnam for a day, and thanks for saying that part, because we actually hadn't discussed this, but if you were in Vietnam for a day, you are considered presumptively exposed to Agent Orange. And what that means is there's a list of several things, and if those come down, if you come down with those things, there's no more tissue test and blood test and whatever used to happen in the past. You were in Vietnam, you set foot on the ground for a day, you come down with these illnesses, the VA says, hey, we're going to take care of you for that, because that can more likely than not be associated to your service in Vietnam. So thank you for that, Scott. That was a great unintended side bit there. And we love to help our veterans with that. We partner with service officers with about 7 different flavors across the country, and we'd love to help you with that if you're not receiving those benefits.
Let's take it, Cullen, to another level. And we're talking about modern medicine. Do you feel that there's a lot of Vietnam veterans right now that are benefiting from the modern medicine compared to what we had prior to that?
Oh, yes. There's so many advances in modern medicine. And you know, I've been around soldiers all my life. I've commanded units from 5 people to thousands. And, you know, soldiers can be a different sort. They can be a little curmudgeonly at times. And I've had guys, I said, hey, look, that thing that you're hanging your hat on that happened 30 years ago, there's some very different things the VA can do for you now. Let us help you help yourself and access those benefits. And I have received many calls back from veterans who are like, man, I'm glad I ran into you at the VFW National Convention, or man, I'm glad I ran into you at the American Legion National Convention, or wherever we ran into them. At the airport, like I said, I'll hop out of line at the airport if I see a veteran wearing a hat. So we love to be able to put veterans in contact with resources that can make their lives happier and healthier.
Now, did you say that you actually do pinning ceremonies and a letter from the president? Go into that more detail, please.
We do. Our partnership is a commemorative partner with the Vietnam 50th gives us a few things. We receive a set of certificates, and this program has spanned 2 presidents. So we have certificates from 2 different presidents. Won't get political. Some people like one flavor, some like the other. We got both. And it's a letter from the president that says thank you and welcome home. It goes into much more detail, but it's just a letter from the commander-in-chief of our armed forces that says thank you and welcome home for everything you did. So we have that, and we have a few other small tokens, and the one that I really love is that piece of metal. You know, I don't know what that piece of metal cost, but it's worth $1 million when I pin it on someone, because I'm telling you, I have seen entire families break down in tears. I've heard it more times than I'd like to admit. They say, Scott, this is the first time someone has said thank you and welcome home in 50 years. And that still blows my mind every time I hear myself say it. So we love what we get to do with this partnership.
Well, I think one of the touching items is that when you're talking to a lot of these commemorative items, it's the ability to actually interact with the surviving spouse. How gratifying is that for you, Cullen?
They do. They have a surviving spouse pin as well. And you'd think we had rehearsed this before. You've got so many good points you're bringing up. The surviving spouse pin, there is a special pin for that. We cannot, there are not words, there are not acts and pins and anything that we can give our surviving spouse for the life that was laid down for the liberties that we enjoy today. So, yes, and I tell you, let me give you a little sidebar here. We had a surviving spouse one time come up to us and say, hey, what's that sticker about? And we told her, said, hey, well, ma'am, we help veterans access their VA benefits, and we make sure they make the right Medicare decisions. She said, well, my husband was a veteran, and he was 100% disabled. I said, well, ma'am, you participate in a program called Champ VA, and, you know, you've got really good coverage through that. We'd be glad to talk to you about some options, but you really have pretty good coverage. She's like, I really don't know what you're talking about. So, you know, the program when your husband was declared 100% service-connected disabled, and you could go anywhere you wanted to, and the VA, you know, picked up the... She said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Scott, we took her, we linked her up with a service officer, and very shortly thereafter, she got a check for, I won't say the amount because I don't want to put people stars in their eyes, but it was for every penny that she had paid for the 15 years prior to when she was supposed to have those benefits. It was in the tens of thousands of dollars. So, and I've run across 3 people like that in my 5 years of that.
Well, I got to tell you, Cullen, since the time I've known you, I find myself rehearsing less about veterans because you have taught me an awful lot about the veterans idea. You know, again, my dad used to be in the Army out in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I actually visited Fort Bragg, North Carolina, spent a July 4th. Did you ever have a chance to get out to Fort Bragg at all?
I've been to Fort Bragg many times. That's where I started my career, and that's about where the headquarters of Army Reserves and a couple other organizations I've worked with over here at headquarters. So I think I started it and ended it there.
Pardon me?
I believe I started and ended my career in and around Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
It's a neat place. It really, really, really is. I know a while back they played a baseball game there one time, so to commemorate the veterans. I love what they do for the veterans. I think one of the veterans I've always admired, unfortunately, he died prematurely, was former Arizona Cardinals Pat Tillman. What are your, and I know his widow is still out there, trying to do good things for the veterans. What are your thoughts about what Pat Tillman died for?
Yeah, you have to have a special place in your heart for any veteran. But when you have a veteran who has come as far as Pat Tillman has come and said, hey, because I love my country, because I feel so passionate about serving my country, I'm going to leave my career as a successful NFL player, and I'm going to go not only, everybody consider us say I believe in these things, but it takes a special person to say, not only do I believe in it, but I will go put myself in harm's way to make sure it's the same. That's Pat, and to lead a very successful career where he could have never had to do those things. You can't say nothing good about him. And my heart goes out to the family. Pat was still in action. You just can't. There's no words. There's no words.
Well, he gave up millions. He gave up millions of dollars, obviously, to do it, but at least he was inspired by the 9/11 thing to take 26,000. I don't remember but a considerable pay cut to do it. That's for sure. So, for all you folks wonder how valuable the veterans are, I think Pat Tillman is certainly a guy we should always go ahead and recognize, whether it's during a patriotic holiday, Memorial Day, whatever. Pat Tillman is a name that I'm glad that we had a chance to talk about. So with that said, Cullen, why don't you go ahead and share me some success stories or two of some of the veterans that you've helped?
We have, where do you start? Every place I go, I'll find a veteran not doing it right. And, you'll find someone who may be on original Medicare only, which, I lived that with my mom the last 3 years of her life. And we spent a ton of money, and we didn't get as much for it as we probably would have gotten if we had our own advantage plan. We couldn't have probably afforded a supplement at that point. I know I'm kind of getting some regard Medicare, but everywhere I go, I find a veteran that is either underinsured or overinsured, or maybe just not in the plan that's quite the fit for them. So our common two, I kind of call them slam dunks. The two that we find that there's just nowhere to go but up is when I find a veteran who's not using the VA, that is eligible and qualified for the VA, and when I find a veteran who is on original Medicare only. Those are almost always changes that we can make for the positive. You can't have a Medicare Advantage plan out there on the market and let it have everything original Medicare has in it so there's nowhere to go but up. And for a veteran that doesn't use the VA that is eligible and qualified for that, then that's access to a whole other set of health care, and a set of health care that understands service-connected injuries, and the VA gets a bad rap sometimes. So I understand some of the administrative struggles that may take place with applying for this or applying for that. I personally have got wonderful health care at the VA, and it's certainly a great resource out there for our veterans, and very, very underutilized.
Any other stories pertinent that you want to talk about, or are those the main ones?
Those are the two. We do find some veterans, especially in your state. We have some retired veterans in your state that may be on TRICARE for life. And typically a veteran that's on TRICARE for life, for those of you who don't know, if you retire from the military, you're given a product called TRICARE for Life. It functions basically like a supplement. And for years and years, the industry has sort of said, leave those people alone. Advocate Health Advisors has spent countless hours researching that whole system and how the systems of VA, TRICARE, Medicare, CHANT VA, all those things can work together. And we can offer a veteran a whole new solution to their health care that has previously been avoided because it's too complex to figure out how to fuse 2, 3, and 4 systems together. So, especially in Florida, we find that our military retirees are very underserved by being simply original Medicare and TRICARE for Life. They have so many options out there. They can do so many things for them. Scott, there's plans in your area that almost give them back their entire Part B deduction from Social Security. And if you're tight for money in the first place, getting that Part B deduction back almost in its entirety, that's a big deal. Transportation is included in some of these plans. One of the number one reasons veterans don't make appointments with the VA is because of lack of transportation. So we have lots of things we can do by showing a veteran how they combine programs who traditionally do not talk to each other, do not coordinate with each other. We make the veteran that educated hub in the center of all those spokes of excellence.
Okay, let's talk about Francis Marion. You want to talk about guerrilla warfare. Why don't you go into more details about that?
Oh, I love that. 4th of July, everybody thinks about the signing of the Declaration of Independence of George Washington, and you can tell from me talking for about 3 minutes that I'm from Boston. So Boston or Manhattan, one of the two. You're probably having trouble narrowing it down, right? But no, actually, I'm from the Carolinas. And, Francis Marion, if you watch the movie The Patriot now, they turned him into an 18th century Rambo, so that's not entirely accurate. But Francis Marion is someone who individually probably changed the course of all of our lives, and I would wonder how many people even know who he was. And in his early 20s, he was in the French and Indian War and learned from his fighting there that guerrilla warfare was the way to fight an enemy who stood lined up across from each other on the battlefield, and then just the rugged frontiersmen that had to, kill what they eat. They were good shots. They knew what they were doing. They knew how to sneak up on a deer, for example. So Francis Marion took all those rugged frontier techniques, the things that he learned in the French and Indian War, and he turned the tables on the British. And the battle in the South, and if you look, the Revolutionary War ended in the South, in Yorktown, Virginia. So all the things that are going on in the North and all the things that kind of get the glamour, don't forget Francis Marion, because he took guerrilla warfare to a whole new level. They hid behind trees. They covered themselves with brush. They ambushed British. They were kind of the original insurgents. And I know insurgents, we put a bad word on them today because, we're some of the victims of some insurgency today in our global war on terrorism. But, we were sort of some of the original insurgents. It was considered ungentlemanlike and not fighting within the rules of British warfare to fight like we did, because Francis Marion didn't line up across from another group and fire at each other and just see how many people you could attrit to win. He fought smart, he fought hard, and he received his nickname, the Swamp Fox, from a Lieutenant Colonel Tarleton, who, after capturing an American prisoner and interrogating him, they found out where Francis Marion may be hiding, and they chased him for 7 hours through 26 miles of swamps in the Carolinas, and then he finally gave up. He said only the devil could catch that swamp fox, so that's where he got his name. And if you watch the movie The Patriot, it's a little Hollywooded up, but that's a pretty good depiction of some of the things that he did and how that impacted the Revolutionary War. And God bless them all, because we have the country that we have today because of them.
Well, I got to tell you, many years ago, I did visit the colonies, Jamestown, Yorktown, and Williamsburg, so that was really neat. I'd love to take my wife there one day. I think that's something you really have to do if you're a history buff. So, I don't know, since I like to hop in my vehicle and drive, as I've been stereotyped by my other half as a crazy man for all the right reasons, then I think that certainly, folks, if you're a history buff, that seeing the colonies is definitely a must-do bucket list type of item. So for all you folks out there, check out the colonies, and Cullen went ahead and give you a reason why to check out Yorktown, Virginia, leading me to my next point, okay? And that is on Saturday we have Independence Day. No, we're not talking about Independence Day from your folks when you're turn 18. We're talking about Independence Day, July 4th, 1776. So let's talk about the Revolutionary War and what could have been. Okay, let's talk about the fact that there were no benefits then, but can you just only imagine when you let your imagination run amok what benefits would have been like during the Revolutionary War, knowing full well that it's all predicated around the 13 British colonies, which all became one. Colin?
I'm still here with you.
Okay, let's reminisce about Independence Day. We'll talk about the Revolutionary War, about what could have been. You know, with veteran benefits, we'll never know, but let's do a little hypothetical type of stuff. Knowing that those 13 British colonies ultimately became us.
Well, you had 56 men from 36 different colonies pretty much sign a document that said, hey, no more. We will not operate under the oppression that we've currently operated in. We're our own country, and that spurred on a conflict that lasted for years and eventually gained us our independence through the patriots that fought and died for our country today.
Unreal. Can you imagine what VA benefits would have been back then? Obviously, it's irrelevant, but, you know, we can always let our imaginations go a little bit.
But our VA benefits exist because of Abraham Lincoln. And I think Abraham Lincoln coined the motto for the VA.
Okay. Sounds fair enough to me. All right, so let's talk about the concern category and take this back to the future. Let's talk about the concerns this year on COVID-19 impact. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
We're very concerned. We currently have a crisis that's consuming our nation. We've stuck our toe in the water with some openings, the results of which are mixed. But the one thing that is pretty much a constant across all the research is some of the population that is the most at risk is the population that we serve at Advocate Health Advisors. So we have done several things to make sure that we can provide our customers the capability to make that educated decision to pick that right policy. We want them to find the fit across all the spectrum of the policies that exist. And we've done that with a couple things. We've had a call center for years. We've increased not only the staffing, but the products that are offered at that call center so an agent can call. And our number for that, Scott, is 866-200-1957. And then the one thing I would say, because some people, they roll their eyes a little bit at a call center, and, you might have this celebrity or that celebrity endorsing a call center, but I can assure you when you call, you're not going to speak to that person, and it's going to be kind of what has been described by some of our customers as a impersonal exchange, and you'll never hear from that person again. Advocate Health Advisors is local. We are in all 50 states in Puerto Rico. We have over 7,000 agents across the nation. We have 24 regional managers across the nation. So you may have to conduct this in a non-face-to-face method, which I'm a face-to-face guy. I love to sit down with someone. I love to shake their hand. I love to look them in the eye. That's not the current environment that we have. But even though we may have to do business with you right now for safety reasons through a call center, we're local. We're in your presence. So, if you have the Buy Local campaign, we're the insurance company that you can say we're buying local, we're multi-carrier, we're not trying to just squeeze you into one plan because that's all we offer. We offer the majority of the plans. And if someone doesn't want to call on the phone, we have a website, advocatehealthadvisors.com. And if you go to our client link on there, not only can you do a lot of research on your own and find out quite a bit about making your Medicare decision, but there's a contact us link on there if you want an agent to call you and discuss the decision with you so you make sure you make an informed decision. That's what we're here for. But remember, we're still local. We have a national presence, but we're still local, so we're there for you. And And this virtual business that we conduct, we have the capability to do things over text and emails and over phone, but we do pride ourselves on still being that local insurance agent that's there for you with a variety of options.
Now, I know that you told me that you have thousands of agents. Is that correct?
We do. We have over 7,000 agents in the field writing now. We're one of the larger marketing organizations of our type in the nation. We're one of the only ones that I know that has a veterans initiative that does what we do. I've looked coast to coast after my retirement from the military. I've been with Advocate for 5 years. I haven't found anyone that does what we do for veterans. So that is an incredibly unique thing we do. But we pride ourselves on every decision that we help every senior make. One of my peers, Joanne French, she says that I want everyone to be treated like my mother. And we take that seriously. We truly believe, and there's research behind it, that we're doing great things for great people. We're making people happier, healthier, and wealthier because we don't want you to worry about your medical condition. We want you to not suffer from medical conditions that can be prevented. And we want you to keep money in your pocket that you might spend otherwise. And in my case, I spent money and got less care for what I could have gotten from my mother had I had her on the right plan.
Now, you've told me, Cullen, that you've really beefed up your staff. Go ahead and explain more about that.
We do. We know there's going to be more virtual business this year because no matter if the government says, hey, all clear, everybody can come out, the government always gets it right, correct? Not. So, there's still going to be people that say, hey, I understand what you're saying. We're at level this or level that. It's okay to meet face to face. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still a little uncomfortable with that. I suffer from COPD. I'm immunocompromised. There's going to be people say, hey, I think I really want to do business over the phone. It's not my first choice, but it's my first choice this year. So not only have we added more staff, we've added more products to our call center. We have a wonderful manager out there, Greg Anderson, who oversees our call center, and he's bringing on the best of agents, the best of products. So we're super excited about being able to serve our customers in what's going to be the optimal choice for them safety-wise this year of a virtual sale.
All right, so that leads me to my next question, and that being this. Do you find yourself recruiting a lot more agents?
Say that again, Scott. You broke up just a little bit.
That's all right. Do you find yourself recruiting a lot more agents?
We are, and we've recruited agents in the past, much in the same manner that we sell. This is a face-to-face business. This is a look you in the eye, promise to do business together as partners, look you in the eye, promise to help you make a good Medicare decision sort of business. And, we've had to sort of morph our recruiting strategy into a virtual strategy. So we have conducted now hundreds of virtual recruiting seminars, and we send out mail, just a piece of mail, and a piece of mail coming to a person who's a licensed insurance agent is pretty much the standard. But we still want to have our recruiting presence in the community. So the virtual recruiting seminar is going on. We still have those going on. We have one coming up on the 8th at 11 a.m. via WebEx. I'll be glad to put the link in that in here for you. We'd love to have insurance agents on there. Please come and hear what we can do for you. When agents come on board with us, they fall in love. We're here to facilitate your success because we thoroughly believe that what the independent insurance agent does in the homes of our Medicare population saves lives. It makes people happier, healthier, and wealthier, and we're all in behind that.
So what does a new agent have to do in order to get certified to sell these types of products?
Well, you have to have the right license, and we'll draw you out a roadmap wherever you come in the process, but it requires a license for that issued by the state. And then there is a certification process that goes through several different phases. And then each product you sell, and that's the thing I love about us, we sell a lot of different products. So every product, that's a little tedious part that you would have to do that you might not have to do if you only sold one company, but we sell, dozens of companies. So you had to go through the certification processes to learn all those products so you can present them to the customers properly. And then you are ready to go. The problem is, Scott, is once you're ready to go, you and I are the only ones know that you're ready to go. So then we need to do a lot of marketing to make sure all the people in the community that you've done, you may have done other business. Maybe you're a property and casualty. Maybe you're in the life insurance business. Well, there's already people that have trusted you with that decision. And many of your customers need you to help them with that Medicare decision also. So we want to let them know, hey, guess what Scott does now? You trusted him for your life insurance policy. Now he can help you answer your Medicare questions. Please reach out and let us help you make these difficult decisions.
Do you find a lot of your agents have to go through their warm market to do it, or do you have other ways to market beyond that?
We have a personalized marketing plan that we go through. It has about 90 different places, and we have an initiative around each of those 90 places. And you often have to, in the military, I would say I liked people that needed brakes, not spurs. And that's what you get when you show an agent the personalized marketing plan. You need brakes, not spurs. And what I mean by that is people are like, ooh, I want to do that one and that one and that one and that one. It's like, wait, let's slow down. Let's do these one or two. I think you're going to see great success out of those. Let's master those and let's add on. And what we see is we see agents that develop over a period of time an incredibly successful business. And you can make a very comfortable living at this, doing great things for great people. And we love to facilitate that success.
Do you find that a lot of the sales, now again, I know we may have touched on it, you do it with Zoom, so you actually have an agent walking everybody through on their computer versus yours so that they can arrive in the right place?
There's a variety of ways. We've got several different platforms where it can take place over email with a phone call. We've got a way where an agent can do this with the call center. We've got a way they can do it through using any of the different platforms. There's a ton of them out there. You've got GoTo, Zoom, and things like that. Agents are very creative in this day and time with how to help their customers make these difficult decisions and still give them that personal touch of a local agent.
Very good. Folks, you're listening to No Limits here in the WSAN network. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Badmouth, along with Cullen Wright. And Cullen, obviously, during a time where, veterans and Medicare, this is something you have to deal with all year. I don't think it's relegated to any open enrollment. And it's important that we respect our veterans because without them, we would not have the freedom that we have. So God bless them. And anytime Cullen certainly wants to come back on the broadcast, we're always welcome to do that because he's a very insightful individual. So, any other closing thoughts, Cullen?
Happy 4th. God bless America. Thank you, Scott, for having us on. Thank you so much.
All right. And just so you know, No Limits is once again WSAN Network. Do you have any way that people will follow you before we go ahead and give our information out?
AdvocateHealthAdvisors.com. And then if you want to call our call center, 866-200-1957, 866-200-1957, and AdvocateHealthAdvisors.com. We'd love to help you.
And as for us, you can go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Tribune South, Facebook, like us at South Florida Tribune, Instagram, South Florida Tribune, like us there. I do have a YouTube channel. When Cullen makes his way back to Southern Florida, then he'll definitely be a candidate to get on it. You can go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. My email address over there is southfloridatribune@gmail.com. You can also locate me on LinkedIn. Scott Morganroth Gets It Done. And again, you can find these broadcasts on southfloridatribune.com or wherever you get your podcasts. So on behalf of Cullen Wright, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth, wishing everybody a happy July 4th holiday. And we ask everybody to go out there and be safe because I'll tell you what, unfortunately, the reality is I think a lot of folks, Cullen, are taking things for granted. And as much as I hate to be a pessimist, the second wave will be here before we even know it. So everybody, please stay safe and holidays or no holidays, COVID-19, I don't think is going away anytime soon. So once again, thanks for joining us, everybody.